Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett. And the United States clobbered Cuba last night, 14-2, and now heads to the World Baseball Classic Championship, where we have the potential to rematch Mexico. Patrick, what did you see from the boys last night, and are we going to win this all?
Well, Trey Turner so far has turned into a national hero. You could call him Captain America, but we're going to call him, well, just an American hero. Trey Turner batting from the 9 spot, keeps raking. He keeps hitting home runs. He's doing the grand slams. He's doing the thing we need.
Yep.
And he's overcoming this lackluster pitching staff.
I mean, it's crazy. Listen, now 2 runs, people would say, all right pitching performance. But Trey Turner said, hey, it doesn't matter. They could score 10 runs for all we care. We're putting up 14.
We're putting up 14.
Nobody's going to score more than 14.
Hero against Venezuela with the grand slam. They beat him 9-7. Here's the thing. You're looking at a possible rematch. What's better than an American underdog story? An American comeback story. And that's what you get when you get a chance to beat Mexico on Tuesday night. Now, could Japan spoil all these plans?
Absolutely.
Yes, it could happen. But what we do know is that the Americans are in the championship.
Oh, yeah. It's a very exciting time. And listen, everybody loves a comeback story. Everyone loves a comeback story. And it's a very exciting time for Americans who, we don't get too many opportunities to have comeback stories these days because, let's be real, we're great at a lot of things. And so anytime you have the chance to say, hey, we're coming back, it's an exciting time. And I think I think Japan, honestly, Japan versus Mexico, I think if I'm Mexico, I'm sandbagging and I'm losing because the embarrassment it would be to beat Japan, go to the final, and lose 14-2 to the United States. You don't want that as a country.
Did the original Mexico loss wake up Team USA?
I'd argue that it has. Patrick, how many losses have we had since that Mexico loss?
0.
That's what I'm talking about. And also, some are going to call this an opportunity for Japan to have a comeback game, but come back in a different respect. So very interesting to see what will happen in the World Baseball Classic. But that's enough baseball, I think. We talked enough baseball there?
Enough baseball.
Yeah. Listen, it's not even regular season's not even happening. We're talking about the World Baseball Classic.
Season,
By the way, the fact that we don't have series for the World Baseball Classic, it's kind of confusing to me. I feel like that was like the whole thing of baseball.
Baseball is very much a series sport.
It's called the championship is called the World Series. But why is the World Series just for the MLB? But then when we have the actual world, we have just a single game.
Maybe we should call it just like the World Championship.
Maybe since we call it the World Series, even though it's just for the MLB, we call this series like the United States Series. Or like the National Series.
The National Series.
The National Series. Yeah. Why don't we have the National Series?
Well, and if USA plays Mexico, we can argue it's just a North American championship.
Fair. But also, you'd argue that Canada is in the major league. So,
very true. So Canada would argue that it's like, hey, we do have representation with one of our teams. Mexico doesn't have a team, but Mexico's like, hey, we make the World Baseball Classic final. So then you kind of like counter those. And then the United States is still like, well, hey, we still got the majority of the major league teams and we're also in the final.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Good call. So moving on to the NFL, Thielen signs with the Panthers per McAfee, per sources. Insiders got to be going crazy right now that Pat McAfee's now dropped 2 stories in the last week. One of them being kind of lackluster. The other one being the biggest news story of just the offseason.
Yeah.
So if I'm an insider, what are we thinking right now? We're thinking, hey, we got upper sources. We got to maybe get some family members who might accidentally leak this stuff, because if the players are having as much power of leaking things as possible, insiders, they got to get a little bit more inside, yeah?
Well, let's put it like this. It's a player-driven league when it comes to making announcements now. When it comes to contracts, it's still very league-driven. So that's where insiders are always going to have the upper hand. That being said, if you're Rappaport, Schefter, any other person that
Okay.
reports news, you're going, well, why?
We have 2 insiders for the NFL. That's just crazy.
And you think about the NBA only has 2. It's like Woj and Shams.
If you want to be like an insider and like you're going to college to be an insider right now, it's a terrifying landscape because insiders are dying, but there's only 2 insiders to die. So it's like oh, it's a dying industry. But if you're an insider for the National Football League, I mean, you're one of 2 people.
I mean, so like the pros are, it's like you make a lot of money. The cons are there's only 2 jobs available. So
like you have a better chance of being like, hey, I want to be an NFL quarterback.
You do, because at least there's at least 64 of those jobs because everyone needs a backup.
Yeah, there's like 64 quarterback jobs, 32 head coaching jobs, 32 GM jobs. Is being an insider the hardest job in football? The most competitive job in football?
It's the most competitive job in football because when you have to try to beat Schefter and Rappaport, you would argue they're 2 of the greatest to do their jobs, right?
Absolutely.
And right now they're still on top of the throne. So you not only have to break into the industry, but you have to take 2 goats off the top of their game in their prime.
It's like LeBron James and Michael Jordan were playing at the same time.
But they're the only
the only 2 players in the league. So you gotta somehow get into the league, and then to be better than them, it's kind of you're fighting an uphill battle. But Thielen to the Panthers, that's good for him. Good for Thielen.
Well, it's great because he's gonna have Andy Dalton throwing him the ball.
Yeah, and huge. We know Andy Dalton, Red Rifle, can sling it. Obviously, yeah. I mean, you have to be pretty good if you start over Jameis Winston, in my eyes.
Yeah, because we know Jameis Winston. Look, re-signs with the Saints, but I don't think he's just happy to be the backup. He's going to give Derek Carr a run for his money.
Oh, I said this from day one now. Some are saying that Jameis Winston is going to be cap casualty, but wouldn't that already have happened?
Well, he re-signed. So.
Oh, perfect. So, boom. So Jameis Winston's back. Jameis Winston could be the starter here. I agree. I think he's got next level talent.
Well, and you got to look at it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I look at the draft. Not you, but the people always tell me the NFL draft's important. I look at it. I go, Jameis Winston, he's drafted number 1 overall. We clearly saw a lot in him. Derek Carr, he wasn't drafted number 1 overall. So when we're looking at it, it's does Jameis Winston have a higher ceiling? Possibly.
I look at it like this. He had 30 touchdowns one year.
And 30 interceptions.
30 touchdowns. 38. Jameis Winston had 30 touchdowns, and that's where we're going to leave it at that. Gardner Johnson goes to the Lions. Lions got a team here. They're putting together a squad. And it's like crazy because the first time ever, it seems like the Lions might be a free agent destination, despite the fact that I don't know how many people are realistically wanting to move to Detroit.
Well, at least I would argue, okay, so when you start looking at cities around the lakes in the northern United States, I would argue Detroit certainly isn't the worst. Now, when people start trying to make Cleveland a free agent destination, that's when I think we have to say, hey, whoa. What are we thinking here? Detroit, look, they got some pros, they got some cons. Hey, you don't even have to play outside. You play in a dome. Detroit's got something going here.
Yeah, does Cleveland still have that toxic waste train sitting around?
Well, that isn't Cleveland. That's Ohio.
Oh, just generally Ohio. It's not Cleveland. I guess I always think it's Cleveland because that just sounds like a Cleveland thing.
Yeah, no, it's still a pretty bad situation, I think. So
yeah, it's not good. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Lions though. I mean, they got one of the best offenses in the league. They're adding to their defense. Man, like seems like the Lions are. Aaron Rodgers leaving the division.
He's out.
Is that everything's set up for the Lions? Now, granted, what
are the Lions going to be without Aaron Rodgers? Are the Lions the favorite to win the NFC North?
I think so, but also you have to imagine, the Bears are loading up on weapons too,
right? But you're they were the worst team in the league last year.
They were, so they probably might need a year. They're gonna need like that year that the Lions had. Like the Lions had like 2 years ago, they had a year where they were pretty bad.
Right.
Last year they had a year where they were a little bit better, and now
Take
I feel
baby
like they're full
steps.
go. Yeah, they're gonna need a couple of those baby step years. I agree. Lamar Jackson is gonna be doing a tell all video on his YouTube channel where he's gonna just lay it all out there, produced by Truz Productions. And when I tell you, am I excited for this? Yes. Is it going to be hard for me to get past the fact that, I mean, the interview looks like it was produced on the old iPhone, like
That Josh, there's Instagram lives that are higher production than this.
it is. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't know this was sponsored by Android,
Stuff. Stuff. I
but
would argue
I
it was
think, I
actually
mean,
BlackBerry actually.
BlackBerry probably. It seems like Lamar. I feel bad for the kid. I feel so bad for the kid.
Here's
I do, and it's hard for me to even talk about because I want to make jokes. I want to say, hey, this is hilarious. Lamar Jackson's doing the tell all, and it's like shot in camera audio, no lighting from his Trust Productions, which I guess
the
is
production quality
company.
is horrendous here.
It's terrible.
It's horrendous.
It's terrible. And then it's going to be talking about, I guess, probably him and the Ravens and what's that negotiating has been looking like. But I think we all just kind of feel bad because it feels like Lamar has lost millions of dollars because of call it not having an agent, maybe call it not having someone to just like manage your business or to create investment opportunities. I don't know what it is, but it feels like I feel bad for Lamar.
Here's the thing: is Lamar is definitely one of the more kind of private superstars.
He's got a kid, you know that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's nobody knows about that. Like that's how private he is.
So like he's super private, except for like the random things he posts on like social media, which are like kind of like funny things, but it's nothing about his personal life, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to hear what happened because everybody wants to know, well, what's the truth between the contract and all this?
Mm-hmm.
It's you just keep looking at this and you're going, okay, whatever your stance is on the Lamar situation, whether he's underpaid, he's overpaid, he has done a great job in these negotiations, terrible job, whatever it is, it's like it's getting to the point where it's like universally like Lamar, like you could be very rich right now and you're not, right? Because the definition is right now he could be rather very rich or like very rich. But either way, he's very rich.
Yeah, and it's tough because some people are going to say, oh, well, like the Ravens are screwing him right now.
Right.
If you look at it, Lamar Jackson has not signed a contract. It's never taken, like, we've seen superstars take a long time to get a contract done. And, anytime you have a team who wants to do good business and then a player who's worth a lot, it's going to be difficult.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes was still the best player in the league. He signed a deal like that. He was able to get a deal done. It just feels like in the Lamar situation, it's tough because it's not like the Ravens are just not giving him the money. The Ravens gave the opportunity for teams to show and let the market determine what Lamar Jackson's worth is. And maybe you can call it collusion or not. It's shown that Lamar Jackson's perceived value and his actual value are a little bit different. And I think sometimes when you're making a deal, you have to just face the music and go, okay, well, yes, I would love X amount. That'd be awesome. Everyone would. And everyone's going to fight in a negotiation, everyone's going to fight for more than they're worth because that's what you do. But then what the negotiation is one person goes, hey, side B of the argument, and then you come to a meeting spot and it doesn't feel like Lamar wants to make that happen. So
but Josh,
I find it tough to think that a deal is going to be done soon here.
And the weird thing is when you look at superstar quarterbacks, you look at guys that have endorsement deals. There's rumors that
I'm sure that thought was going
He
to be.
said that's not true,
Oh yeah.
but reports, that's conflicting. We'll never understand, right? Normally, superstar quarterbacks, especially after an MVP season, start signing endorsement deals. Like, look at what happened to Baker Mayfield after his rookie year.
Baker
He didn't win
Mayfield.
an
Oh my
MVP.
gosh, he's still living off of the progressive
Progressive,
checks.
progressive. Yeah. So, and I understand that Lamar, he does things differently. You don't have to be on camera,
No,
but
you
it's
don't
just
have to.
but it's just the whole thing feels weird. I don't know how else to
Yeah,
say it.
that's tough. I do feel bad for him. I really do. I hope he gets some good counsel, good guidance. And yeah, and we're rooting for you, Lamar. Hey, we're rooting for you. Moving on to the NBA, Austin Reeves puts up 35, getting an MVP chance. The Lakers are winning despite not having LeBron, and everyone's wondering, was LeBron the problem?
Well, we're talking about LeBron, the all-time leading scorer. And apparently sometimes you can hold a team back. LeBron, look, the most optimistic timeline has come now from their head coach. It sounds like LeBron will be back at some point this season. They don't know when that's going to be. LeBron called this final stretch of games this year the
The
most
most
important games of
important
his
games of
life.
basketball that he will ever play.
But he's not playing them, he's watching them.
Doesn't
They
seem
have
like
a
they're that
guy,
much more important. Yeah.
right? Austin Reeves has stepped up. They saved the season. I'm pushing back here. They beat the Orlando Magic. The Magic aren't good.
Mm.
Like, this isn't like they went and beat the Memphis Grizzlies or the Milwaukee Bucks. They beat the Orlando Magic, who, by the way, don't have their first overall pick that they just took this year because he's hurt.
Mm. Well, that does make an interesting argument to say that the Lakers are not in a good spot. But I don't watch enough basketball to be able to tell you if that's good. I mean, if they're good or not. I'll tell you this though: if LeBron comes back and then they lose in the playoffs, I'm going to be loud. That's all I'm going to say.
You you will be very loud.
That's
I
all
can tell you that.
That's all I'm going to say. And listen, I'm a Lakers fan, previous Lakers fan. I'm a former Lakers fan, retired Lakers fan. So I feel like I have a clue of being the Lakers culture, you know?
Do you understand the history, the culture that comes with it?
Yeah.
Right.
Like I know what it's like to be a fan. Like I'm not just like imagining myself in those shoes. I was in those shoes. I had a t-shirt that said Lakers.
That's about as far as your fandom went.
Well, jerseys are expensive, man. What do you want from me? I had a t-shirt though. It said Lakers. It was gray. And I remember I was wearing it when the LeBron news broke.
Did you immediately take it off?
I went to Instagram and I said, listen, just so you know, I'm not a bandwagon fan. I was here before LeBron, and then I contemplated my fandom, and then after LeBron just started talking and playing and just everything, I hung up the cape.
Wow.
Anyway,
Tough life there, Josh.
we'll see what happens with the Lakers, and I mean, we gotta wait till like June.
Well, I mean, June would be the finals. I think they'll be out long before then.
Okay, so like May,
Maybe later.
late April. We'll see what happens late April. Moving on to March Madness, FDU, the second 16 seed to ever upset a number 1 seed. Their Cinderella story comes to an end.
I want to push back on that, Josh. It's not a Cinderella story. Okay. No. If you want it to be, you got to win at least 2 games.
They did
okay?
technically. They wanted to get in the tournament.
That wasn't a Cinderella moment to get into the tournament. Not to mention, did you know that FDU lost their conference tournament?
FDU, believe it.
They lost their conference tournament, but received an automatic bid because the winner was transitioning from another league, another division to Division I, so they weren't eligible for the tournament.
Oh, okay. So they really made the best of
right. So it speaks more even to like how big of an upset this was. It's not a Cinderella if you only win 1 game. It's just a huge upset. A Cinderella is what I would consider St. Peter's last year, what Princeton's doing this year, which we should have seen coming, just saying. But it's not a Cinderella story. It's a great story. but it's not like a Cinderella story. Like keep in mind, like that's a 2 hour movie. Like when we talk about this in the history books, it's like a quick like 5 minute paragraph.
Oh, so wait a second. Okay, so but Cinderella, she works. She's sisters treat her terrible.
Right.
She gets a fairy godmother, and then she goes to the dance.
Goes to the dance.
Dance. She has a great time. She meets a prince. Uh-oh. Clock strikes midnight.
Boom.
Runs away. She
Mhm.
turns back into a peasant. That kind of sounds exactly like FDU to me. They went to the dance. They had their moment. Clock strikes 12. It's really close, and they leave. Now they're back to their what they were. And so that means that, what does that mean, Patrick? If they're true Cinderella, next year they go back,
Right.
but this time the slipper fits. So we're still in the making. So maybe you're right.
So
Patrick,
maybe
you're right,
I'm too
Patrick.
quick.
It's a Cinderella story. It doesn't. We're both wrong because the Cinderella story is not over, and it is a Cinderella story.
We just haven't seen it end yet.
We just haven't seen it end yet.
So there's still just everybody's just waiting for their nice Prince Charming to come around. Just hasn't happened yet.
Hasn't happened yet because that's the thing. Okay, Cinderella didn't go to, everyone gets confused about what Cinderella is. Cinderella didn't go to the dance and then all of a sudden just like marry the prince there. No.
Mhm.
There was trials. There was tribulations. That's what we call a story.
Some would argue Cinderella didn't even go to the dance looking for a marriage.
No.
FDU didn't go to the dance this year looking to be a hero.
She
They just wanted to win a game.
They just wanted to go to the dance. Wow.
Wow, Josh, we figured this out.
Great stuff. Duke lost to Tennessee, but they were 19-1 when healthy, so we can't really count this as a loss.
It's an asterisk, so it's tough. You hate to see Duke fans come and have to defend themselves online. Last year they got embarrassed to their arch rival. Last game for Coach K, tough for them. They come back, they think it's their year, they win the ACC tournament, and then they get bounced in the round of 32. Who did they lose to, Josh? They lost to Tennessee. Rick Barnes has been at Tennessee since 2015. Do you know how many times he's made the Sweet 16?
How many?
Just twice.
That's a lot of years to only go twice, yeah.
It's a lot of years to only go twice. So 19-1 when healthy doesn't sound like a great excuse to me.
I think you're reading this wrong, Patrick. I think Duke was a team that, let's be real. They're 19-1 when healthy. We should honestly, there's going to be an asterisk on this national championship, and it's going to be, well, Duke was 19-1 when healthy. So what does that say? That says that Duke might have been the true national champion.
Right. It's Colts, AFC finalist, hang the banner. Duke, 19-1 when healthy, hang the banner. And was this an all-time great Duke team?
Arguably when healthy.
Makes sense. But, you have to feel for the Duke fans out there. It's tough. Their season ends. Now they got to go on. It's good for them. It's almost opening day. The Yankees almost are opening up. The Lakers are winning, which is good for them.
Yep.
Cowboys, they made a couple of moves during the offseason. So a little tough
they
to be.
They just got Brandon Cooks. Good talk about
They did get Brandon Cooks.
They're out here. They're working. They're giving Dak weapons here.
So everything's going to work out for Duke fans.
Did you say in the Yankees got Aaron Judge, who's, sure they were juicing the balls, but yeah, they got stars, so we're good.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. Lakers are back winning games. Everything's looking up for Duke fans right now.
Yeah, good for you got this, Duke fans. You're going to make it through. And if I know anything about Duke, is that if you're 19-1 when healthy, I just I can't wait to see what happens when when you're really when you get healthy and you stay healthy.
Who, what, like 19-1 when healthy? Like, what does that mean? Like every player on the roster was available to play that night? Because like newsflash, like
No, no,
injuries
no.
happen.
Or was it just like oh well, technically player XYZ he wasn't feeling his best tonight. So like he's not really healthy.
Right. Like if I'm like the 11th guy on the team,
It was
right?
a
I
little
don't
bit
see
like a little bit sore. You're like,
like right, like
oh guys, I don't know about this one. Oh yeah, I mean I'll play. I can play for sure, but man, I'll tell you what. There's like those like that weight room session on Thursday really just kind of like I'm sore, man.
if you're the 11th guy on that roster, doesn't really play, but you're sitting there and you're like, "Hey, coach, not feeling it. I got this, bone bruise on the hamstring." It's like, okay, fine enough. If we lose tonight, we weren't healthy.
It's like yeah, I think you're right. And as they should, fair, because that 11th guy, the impact that he has on the team is invaluable. So yeah, hey, good for Duke. Um, national champions.
Well, like imagine the San Francisco 49ers because they get an injury every week of the NFL season and every year. Imagine like week one, like imagine if they just compiled all the stats. It's like, you know what? We're 7-0 over the last 10 years when we're healthy.
So true. That's fair. Very fair for them. Moving on, we go to NASCAR. Joey Logano wins Atlanta after not a last lap finish, a last turn finish. Brad Keselowski, who raced so well the whole race, gets beat out at the end. Heartbreaking finish for Brad Keselowski, who has led every single race this year, hasn't got a win. And Patrick, you called it. You called the Joey Logano win. I posted the odds. It was like plus 1,100 odds for him to win. Surely you put like $1 on that at least.
Nope, didn't put any money on the NASCAR race yesterday. Will say I did just come off the hottest week and a half of my life gambling, which was very fun during March Madness.
It's great.
That came to a screeching end with a couple losses over the weekend. Still up big plus money.
Oh, that's good. Hey, that's good.
Yeah. So
I mean, you could have been up plus 1,000 odds, but you
right.
didn't even believe. You didn't even believe yourself.
I didn't. It's like my Super Bowl doink bet. I didn't believe myself. I didn't believe it. But here's the thing. Was this the least exciting, most exciting finish of all time? Because it was a last lap pass, and it was like, oh, that was cool.
It was cool.
Like I don't know what NASCAR has to do. I don't know if they got to change the broadcast. I don't know if they got to change the car.
Here's the thing.
Again.
I love Tony Stewart. He talks like he's doing golf.
Well, it's not Tony Stewart's problem. It's been the broadcast. If you go on Twitter, people are not happy.
Listen, get
even
me in
when
there.
Tony Stewart's not in the booth.
Yeah. I you're right. I don't know what it is because none of. Listen, it's the WWEification of NASCAR that needs to take place. There needs to be a little bit of like spark, rivalry, maybe something that like gets people like glued in. Because to be honest with you, I'm almost more tuned into The Farmer Wants a Wife that comes on after in NASCAR on Fox.
Yeah, because look, this is what NASCAR's done over the past last week. It said, you know what? You're a driver. You spoke out in the media. Can't do that. We can't have drivers talking in the media. We're going to suspend you for doing that. Look, NASCAR needs as much eyeballs as they can get right now. Ratings are down pretty bad to start the year. Yes, you can make arguments. There are less households that do have TVs. Yes, I get all that arguments. But that being said, they're about to sign a new TV deal and ratings are down. Nobody wants to hear that.
Ooh,
NASCAR, the
nobody
racing,
likes that.
It's been okay. Hasn't been great.
Do you think
if you're NASCAR, you got to change something up. You got to present it a different way. You have to make NASCAR exciting and fun again. Right now,
if the ratings are bad enough, do you think we put together a TV deal proposal to get it on the YouTube channel?
I think we'll send it in.
I think we'll send it in. And
I mean, we have to be better. We have to be better than what Fox is putting out
I
at the
think we
moment.
could put together, and now we might need to invest in some. I mean, I don't know if we could stream this off of OBS, the NASCAR race, but I think
We,
we
I
could,
mean, we can all. I mean, but what
we
NASCAR has to understand is, if you give us the deal, we will invest in our
we
equipment.
will invest. We're gonna make a good setup if you give us the deal. Okay, it's gonna be legit. We're gonna get good people in the booth. It's yeah, we're gonna do the right thing here. And you're right. I think Kyle Larson not finishing again can't be good for the sport either. Another DNF for Kyle Larson. I mean, what is that? Like, that team is the most
There's
unlucky team in NASCAR right now.
there's a fine line in NASCAR, right? You love the unpredictability. You want to make sure that there's
Yep.
parity in the sport,
Oh,
so that
absolutely.
anybody can win. But there's also a thing where you want your best drivers to somewhat be dominant, right? When you look at the sport's heyday, you look at Earnhardt, you
Yep.
look at Jeff Gordon,
Yep.
Tony Stewart had a
Yep.
run,
The King.
Jimmy Johnson then took over that role, right? There's always been a dominant player.
Yeah.
Right now, we're kind of in a lull this season so
It's like,
far.
is the dominant player William Byron?
And it's like, no, it's not, because he's not sorry to William. Like, you might be the best guy, but like, you're not as
I mean, I
marketable.
mean, let's look at who was leading the points prior to the big penalty. It was Alex Bowman, and Alex Bowman has won 0 races, and
Mhm.
he was the points leader prior to, obviously, them getting like 1,000, 100, whatever, a billion owner points and a billion
Well,
team
because
points reducted.
and
And
the
by the
thing,
way, and he was right. He was running up towards the front again yesterday.
yeah, I mean,
Is
Alex
Alex
Bowman's,
Bowman the most dominant driver this year?
I mean, he's a great race car driver, but like, what you're missing is like a media spark,
Yeah.
and you're like trying to get more eyeballs. Denny Hamlin has made a podcast with Earnhardt's media company.
And it stinks, apparently.
He's gonna get better at it. The first couple episodes were
I
okay,
didn't listen to it. So sorry. Hey, Denny, I just want to let you know I didn't listen to it. And I'm sorry if I prematurely said it stinks.
but he got docked points and fined because he spoke up on his podcast. It's like, if you're NASCAR, don't you? Isn't that what you
Yeah,
want?
that's what
You
you
want
want. Listen, dude, that's what you want. You want people talking. You want drivers stirring up stuff. I think every driver should have a podcast, and they should all say they should list every single week. They have a top 10 of drivers they hate most, and that should just be the standard.
Mhm.
If I was a
Because the
driver,
standard is the standard.
now granted, it's tough because the desire, like the relationship NASCAR must have with the sponsorships must be so fragile
Mhm.
that to have this kind of like uptightness within the sport. Like, it has to be so fragile because and maybe sponsors, maybe like, and listen, to be fair, not too many sponsors are entering the sport. So you got to try to keep the sponsors you have in the sport. And I
Mhm.
understand, the way the brands are these days, they can't have loose cannons, whatever. But if you're talking about the sport, that feels like it's fair game. And also, it's tough because it's not like in the day where, you know, Lowe's will sponsor every single Jimmy Johnson race. It was synonymous with Jimmy Johnson.
Mhm.
That's not the case anymore. So, like, Jimmy Johnson, if he wanted to start saying some words, it's not like, oh, long time, every single race partner, Lowe's is just gonna just leave the
Right.
deal. But if you have like a one race deal or something, like, that relationship is not as like cemented with NASCAR. I think the relationship with the brands in NASCAR is like one that is just like in a weird spot right now. It's very fragile, and I think that does contribute to the fact that NASCAR is like, drivers, you need to be just as clean cut as you can be.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, when you're looking at NASCAR, you look at attendance numbers are totally fine. People are still going to the races,
Yeah.
right? But people aren't watching on TV. So when you start putting that measuring up, it's like, well, we have to present something differently. And I'm not saying Fox can't do that. I'm not saying that. There just needs to, you need to present your stars in a different way. They'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. Hey, hopefully you guys got this. One last quick thing. There's a company is doing a social experiment right now where instead of like a dating app, you buy a ring, you put it on your ring finger. It's like a light blue ring. And if you see that ring on somebody, it's like, hey, I'm open to being approached. I'm open to being talked to. And so it's trying to get rid of the, like, I guess just like the social mediaification of dating. And Patrick, I'll be honest with you, I'm intrigued to see this. Am I going to see people wearing this thing in public?
Here's the thing. This is what our brilliant brains, not our brilliant brains, but like humanity's brilliant brains has decided to do. We have decided to take social media, Tinder, Bumble,
Yeah.
Hinge, whatever it is, and we've just put it into real life, right? So now it's think smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah.
So if you're the guy and you're like, okay, well, the girl's got the blue ring on, it's like I can approach her. It's at this point for guys, you're setting yourself up to less rejection, which I think is an overall good thing.
It's a great thing. And now, like, this all falls apart if the girl, like, all of a sudden there's no like quality control and the girl's being approached by just a bunch of people who she would never have swiped right on. And then she's like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. That it does all fall apart. But it's interesting how we took a concept that we never thought, like dating, we never thought that would be an in-person thing. You know, it's like, hey, like dating's happens, that's social media. And it's crazy because it's the first time ever where we've seen something go from social media to in real life. We never see it. We always see things go the other way around, showing people pictures. Oh, put that on social media, but now you can date in real life. It's crazy.
It's almost like it's never been done before.
It's wild. And so good for that company. Well, I'm not going to get a ring personally.
I mean, if you want to send us a free ring, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd wear it.
I don't know if I'd wear it. I don't think I would. I don't really want to be approached by a bunch of people.
Well, no, I think the objective is you would do the approaching.
No. I think guys can wear the ring too.
Well, I understand that, Josh, but it's like, but I still think the traditional. Well, I guess it's 2023, so you don't need it traditionally anymore.
Yeah, you don't need to do the old girl. Hey, Patrick, girl wants to approach a guy, she can.
It's allowed.
It's allowed. Anyway, if you're still watching at this part of the episode, DM us on Picks and Pancakes or at Picks and Pancakes on Instagram, and you guys will get a free mug. Also, go to our website at picksandpancakes.com to read everything that's happening there. What do I usually tell us to say? Am I missing anything? Subscribe.
Nope,
5 stars everywhere.
Defenders are the best team in the XFL.
We missed that. Okay,
And,
whatever. What? Okay, great. Yeah, that's great. Okay, we'll see what happens. Hey, we'll see what happens this week, huh? Hey, we should do a watch along.
Monday night, we will. We'll do it.
Sweet. I got to figure out the technology on that. Anyway, guys, make sure you have a wonderful day. Go attack this Monday. This is going to be a great week. Anyway, a peace.